being on the call makes you want to work. The energy that it gives you, it makes you want to be like get active and get this activity going. It's pretty dope.
It's like a living, growing organism.
Yeah,
as we go.
It's contagious. It's like a virus.
Yeah. A good virus. A good virus, guys.
I don't know where that one was going. I'm gonna leave that one. Thanks for joining us this week on the Elite Sales Podcast. I'm joined in the studio this week by my buddies, my partners. He's got Clifton Henry with FFL Generational, and got my head of media productions, Yoel Aynalem. And we have Sam Martinez engineering today's show. Off camera shy. As far as first-time writers, wanted to recognize a few people. We have Carlton Bryant, who's working with John. So congratulations to you, Carlton. We have Rob Williams and Alicia Lang, both working with Casey Jarrett, also submitted business for the first time. So always one of my favorite parts, just seeing someone just go through the process of either they've just gotten licensed or they've been previously licensed. Now they got contracted, went out there and started writing some business, protecting some families, and just going out there and about to get paid. So always a real exciting part.
Huge.
So you just got back coming from out of town?
Mexico.
Yeah. How was it?
Mexico. 5 days. It was cool. It was definitely it was my first time in Mexico, so it was a good experience, just relaxing, getting away, just being on the beach and just kind of, removing myself from everything and getting a new perspective. Every 3-4 months, I got to just get away for a little bit and just get out of the LA bubble, because it kind of makes you, it just puts you in a different mind state. So it was good to get away. It was awesome. It was beautiful.
I mean, was it pretty different from LA, culturally, how you interact with people, all that sort of stuff?
Dirt cheap.
For sure, man. I felt like a king. You know what I'm saying? I really that. Those dollars, they go long. It's 1,000 I took 1,000 pesos out of my account, and I was like, I'm a king now. You know what I'm saying? I really I'm really banded up right now. I got bread, and, tacos were 16 pesos. And, I got a couple, mushroom tacos, and I was like, wow, I really got 800 more pesos left, I really, so, this is different perspective, and just makes me realize how blessed we are in America, and how, great of an economy it is. And how, if you're working and doing okay or more than okay or great here, then you are in the top % of the world, and you go anywhere else and you're just wow, I'm blessed to be in this country for sure. Because a lot of people are struggling, man. I felt bad. My sister was nickel and diming people for little things, and yeah, here they take advantage of you. You got to make sure you see how much they're adding onto your charges and all that. And I'm I get it, but dude, I'm I don't care.
Even was telling you that?
Yeah, she's like, sometimes, because they be adding a lot of the times they think you're not paying attention to the bill, and they're just trying to, you're a tourist and you probably got some bread, so they're oh, let's just add something to the bill and they won't notice, you know what I'm saying? Which is super annoying, of course, and it happens here and there. But for me, I'm dude, we're so blessed. I don't even care. Go for it. If you need it more than I do, you know what I'm saying? I've never really been the person to if it's a service or some, some small business or people, on the street or something, I'm dude, if you want me to pay a little bit extra, I'm not tripping. It's all good. It's really not that deep. I'll be straight regardless, but obviously no one likes to be taken advantage of, but
yeah,
it's just a different place, man. They're struggling. A lot of them are struggling out there. So it's very humbling, very refreshing, very, eye-opening.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So while you were out, even because we were supposed to go shooting, so we actually Cliff and I and a few of the guys, we actually went shooting yesterday. That was your first time shooting?
Yeah, it was my first time.
How was it?
The experience was It was wild. It was wild. My first time shooting any type of weapon other than, a super soaker, whole different ball game,
Feds are not watching, by the way. So you can be honest, Cliff. No, just kidding.
Come pick me up. I promise. But yeah, it was pretty dope, man. I got to see the different type of weapons that was there, and the hardest thing to shoot are the handguns. Like you see on the movies, everybody just boom, 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 shooting, and then everybody just getting hit, without any misses. It's pretty crazy, man. But the assault rifles, those are pretty dope, man. You're definitely super accurate with that, even if it's your first time around. But it was really fun. It was really something that I didn't think I was gonna ever do, but it was definitely dope.
Yeah, it was kind of a cool experience. It was just my buddy. He had some time at the range, and so I invited a few of the guys that are local. Went to go shoot. Aside from the fun part of it, just blowing off some steam and just shooting some stuff and blowing things up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the more valuable part of it was just seeing how people interact with each other, just spending that bit of time, kind of building a relationship. Yoel and I joked about that because the thing is, even though I know these guys, like you get thrown into a different type of situation, you get to see how people, react to things, how people think, how people, who steps up, who kind of like falls back, all these little things. It's always kind of an interesting sociological experiment. And I always like to observe when these things happen. Not that that's my main intention.
Yeah. Albert's like, whoever goes and reaches for the gun last is not getting their team built.
Oh, did you read my notes? No, but I mean, that type of camaraderie, because we went and grabbed a bite afterwards and sat around, and then a few guys mentioned, or like, it's kind of cool. Like we don't get an opportunity to actually spend time with people. Like we see each other in the live dials, and we get to talk in certain meetings, but overall you don't spend that much time for leisure stuff, because we're all generally just kind of just working and doing our own thing and building our own thing. But to have that opportunity, it was just a really cool experience. And
agreed. Definitely a moment to remember for sure.
Having the squad, like a lot of the times, like that same crew, like the LA crew, would come to the office, but now everything's like remote, and everything, like no one really comes to the office. So I bet that was cool to have everyone kind of in the same place. It rarely happens, like not everyone, but like everyone like that we hang out with that in the LA area. But it is super important to like have that camaraderie, or have that just feel like you hang out with someone and get to know them and genuinely connect with them and understand them, is like super important with friendships, with work, with anything.
Yeah,
super important.
Well, relationships are super important in business. I mean, you don't necessarily need to have, you don't need to be best friends, but you have to have an understanding. You have to have a good working relationship, and you got it, because the thing is, if the deeper the relationship that you have, when you go through tough times, and we're all going to go through tough times, within every business relationship, if it's significant, if you're going to grow big, at some point you're going to hit some type of disagreement, or you might see things differently. But the thing is, if you have a relationship, then you know where this person's coming from. You know it's not malicious, or they're not out to get you. I mean, these are all things that you kind of have, things that develop over time, and that's I'm fortunate for the people that are local, that I get a chance to see them around the office. But for a lot of the other guys, I mean, when we have conventions, when we have these sales conferences, which, by the way, May 19th we have one in Los Angeles. We're hopefully we'll see you guys there.
Segue, like
yes sir.
But all these little events and just little meetings like this that we get a chance to talk together here. I mean, it gives us an opportunity to further deepen our relationships, and it may not be that important right now, but down the line it probably will be.
I think we think that like we know everything, or if we don't know something, that we know to look for it, when in reality it's like you don't know what you don't know,
right?
And you don't know what person has the information that you don't know that you could learn from. I think like Sean always says, like if someone's doing, don't listen to anybody unless they're doing better than you. You know what I'm saying? Which, like, I kind of get where he's coming from, but my thing is, like, you can take something valuable from anybody. You could take something valuable if you're intelligent enough to like decipher and juxtapose different perspectives and apply it effectively. You can really take anybody's perspective and be like, oh, that's an interesting point, and see where that kind of ties into your work, ties into your business. And but I guess as like a general rule, take advice from people that are doing better. It's a good, safe rule.
Yeah.
but I think we can genuinely listen and learn from anybody.
Yep.
Like, yeah. Talking to the mic.
I agree. I think you as a general rule, you definitely should listen to people that are doing better than you, or they're in a position where you want to be, or you'd like to end up, and you're happy being in that person's position. Then that's definitely the person that you should be trying to gather as much knowledge from.
Yeah.
You know,
continuously, and as a default, for sure.
And and for me, I'm big on respect, so you should treat everyone with respect, even if they're newer than you are, they're doing less than you at the moment. Like,
agreed.
There's never real reason to disrespect them unless they disrespect you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. Like, yes, you can learn something from them, but also I am not going back to that person's. I could be wanting to like learn more about this person, but I'm not trying to get business advice from this person. Right? So there's a distinction there. So, but speaking of which, I mean, I wanted to have Cliff on today because a couple weeks ago, been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We
2 weeks, 2.5.
We started discussing ideas on how to, try to help, open up communication for people, help everyone's job get easier if you're looking to build, get more people, more resources in their hands. We decided to go with this live dials idea. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you getting this thing started and getting it launched. So what's your thoughts on it so far, and what was the idea behind it? And tell us a little bit, tell people more about that.
Yeah. So initially the idea was to basically like build something out where we can have the entire elite basically come on board and kind of not just learn, but also basically get the necessary skills that we need to better our business and grow our business. And that was, you can say, the initial focus. And we definitely have a lot of plans for it, coming soon. And so far, since we've been doing it, I think it's been maybe 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. It's low-key blown my mind, because I remember the first couple of days being on there with George at 5 a.m. It was rough waking up at 5, going to sleep at 2 a.m. I'm not gonna lie to you, but still, we did it anyway. And I remember I was like, hey, you know what, man? I'm not even gonna sweat it. There's like maybe 2 or 3 people on here, but I feel like we have to go through this to actually be the pioneers, to let it grow, because there's gonna be someone that's gonna step up. And before you know it, Casey popped out of nowhere, Trent popped out of nowhere, Jared popped out of nowhere, and all these guys are beasts. They've been basically pouring into all the agents that's been coming in. And I've been learned a ton of stuff from them. Actually, I even caught myself talking like them. When I got a referral call not too long ago, and I remember I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm the underwriter. I'm only here to get you qualified." I'm like, "Wait, well, hold on, what's going on here?" This is legit what Jared and Casey says, and just like being there. I'm not sharing all the time on there, because I'm mainly taking recruiting calls. I have this recruiting campaign that I do. So I'm taking recruiting calls. However, when I'm not taking recruiting calls, I'm actively listening to these guys. And they've taught me a lot. And I've been in insurance for about 5 years now. They taught me a lot in the little time that we've been doing these lives, the live dials. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, you can legit learn, whether you're new, whether you're old, you can legit learn from being a part of this group. And I feel like we got a lot to offer, and it's only in the beginning stages. And it's definitely already blown my mind for sure.
So, Casey, if you can unmute real quick, because Casey's one of the guys that's leading on the calls.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get a Lambo for $1, to be honest.
So we've all had an opportunity to hear Casey closing deals. We also hear Casey getting rejected. We also hear Casey, just run through the whole business. I think it's been a real valuable thing for a lot of people to watch. So what have been your thoughts on it so far, Casey?
I mean, like me and JP and me and Trent have talked about it for like several months of trying to get something going. And we jumped on other people's live dials to go on that, but it just wasn't the same. I think it was definitely good what we kind of created. We have our own culture. And that's the big thing about growing business. We definitely get on there, we learn, but again, it's the culture that we're trying to build is super important for this business.
Yeah.
But as far as besides the culture, we joke around a lot. We curse, we do this every now and then, but it's all in fun. But it's super important. Like I've even learned stuff. I've been in the business, almost 10 years now. And I'm even learning stuff, what I should do, what I should not do, when I need to call it quits for the day, when I've had a rough day, that kind of thing. Lambos for $1 all day, every day. Sure. But, at that point, you get so much information out of that. And it's just fun. You have that office atmosphere and that culture you're trying to build, but we're all at home or we're at the office or wherever that. So again, that's what I think the main thing we're trying to build. But I mean, no matter if you're brand new to the business, if you're, you've been in the business 10, 15, 20 years, it doesn't matter. Hop on. And you can learn a lot. You don't have to, I mean, obviously we want you to, be on there, be interactive in it. Because again, we're all trying to learn. We're all trying to, grow and, be better. But again, jump on and just listen to us. I mean, everybody that's been on there has seen me have, I wrote 10,000 in a day, but I also went 0 for 12 in a day. So again, you have your ups and downs in this business. And like a lot of people, I had one new person, tell me the other day, it's good to see somebody like me fail. Like, again, I don't think I'm a good salesman, I'm okay. But, somebody that's, being consistent in numbers and they fail. Like, yes, it happens. Like we're not gods. I think Trick would, disagree with that. But, as far as for, we go in there, we work, we put in the work. I normally get in there probably like between 6 and 7 a.m. I wake up between 4 and 5 every morning. I hit the gym, get my workout in and just go in there and I'm in it all day. I'm not really doing anything anyway. So I might as well be on there. If I get a call, everybody will mute, I'll unmute. We'll take a call, kind of go through it. At the end of the call, we'll go through some, hey, what could I have done better? What about this? What about that? And just kind of throw ideas off each other to we're all trying to get better. We're all trying to grow. So that's, one of the biggest things of it is, we're all trying to get better. We all have the same goal, the same vision to get better. And kind of something like what Yoel said, you don't know what you don't know. So again, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know every time. If you're like talking to doing appointments by yourself, you think you just did the best appointment ever. And again, you're like, I don't know why this person didn't buy. But again, if you have somebody listening to it, you'll find so much stuff that, we can help you out. It may be just the way you say it. Like, Mom used to always say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So again, you could be saying you could be saying perfect words, but again, it may be how you're saying it's throwing off clients or making clients scared to kind of give you information or anything like that. And it's truly just about, no matter if you're above somebody, below somebody, equal to somebody, we're all here to, be mentors to each other. That's the biggest thing. And again, mentor, that word comes in and it's all about, you think up, Albert, you're my mentor. But again, like a new agent to me also can teach me stuff too. So I see everybody as a mentor to me because I'm open-minded to learn no matter what. And I know at the beginning, like if anybody knew me 5 years ago, I'm the most shyest person. Like my old practice company, I would be the first one to get into the office so I could get in the office, close the door, book on my own, do calls on my own. I hated people hearing what I said because if I messed up, I would get embarrassed. Now, it's for the better. It's more than me. I'm doing it obviously to help families and make money, but I'm here to, grow a team and help people and do everything I can to make us, even more elite. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing, when it comes to that, we're just trying to better ourselves. And if you're nervous, you don't want to talk in front of people, get over it. Like, just do it. Like, that's the biggest thing in this business. You just have to go do it. Get out your comfort zone, go do it. And just want to better yourself. That's the biggest thing where I kind of take away, from our whole elite dials.
Yep. No, very well said. And I think that sentiment's pretty much shared by everybody else that gets on there.
Agreed.
I mean, so we're also talking about Jared.
Yeah.
So which we're gonna have him out here pretty soon. So have him in studio. But with Jared, we've seen his numbers and we know that he works and we know that he can sell. But like when you listen to him, like he's like super smooth. Very. Like he has like really good word tracks. He's really comfortable. I mean, like Derek, are you on it? Can you unmute real quick?
Jared's master class, man. I feel like that's what the lead dials are.
It's like a master class.
Yeah.
Derek Brower, are you on here?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I'm
going
back and forth with the client right now, so I might have to jump back off.
Okay. Are you still on the call?
Yeah, I'm going to leave my video on, but I just took a call from the client. He's going to call me right back.
Okay.
Sorry, did you say something to me earlier? I just plugged back in.
No, I was just gonna say real quick. What'd you say about Jared the other night when we were here at the office?
What did I say?
How he's like you could watch, you could take your.
Oh yeah. So like a week ago, he was getting this comment, this objection. I can't remember what it was, but then watching him over the past week and a half or 2 weeks, he like took that objection, changed his, his script, the way he presented it, and overcame it in front of me like a couple of days later. So it's just cool to see like the wheels, in his head and probably everybody else's head turn. And, it's just, I would definitely recommend being on those calls if you're not on them.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
just cool to see. Yeah.
That's actually pretty sick, because like I've seen it like constantly evolving, because like, Casey will do something, and then Trent will chime in, or Jared will chime in, and basically we all give each other like tips and pointers, and then the next time around it'll come back up, and then boom. I'm saying they were able to overcome that. And I think that's beautiful. It's evolving as we continue to push forward and do it. The potential for this is it's wild.
The synergy is real.
Really good. The energy is good, and I feel like just being there, even if you're not doing anything, new agents come in or old agent come in, just being on the call makes you want to work. The energy that it gives you, it makes you want to be like get active and get this activity going. It's pretty dope.
It's like a living, growing organism.
Yeah,
as we go.
It's contagious. It's like a virus.
Yeah. A good virus. A good virus, guys.
I don't know where that one was going. But yeah, I mean, like George will hop on. He'll be just doing his thing, and then he'll have some feedback. He'll share a little bit. So it's just really cool to watch. JP, you're not on the call right now, are you?
JP,
no, I got you. I hear everyone. This call is hilarious, by the way.
What have been your observations thus far?
No, I enjoy the Elite Zoom. We were doing the Zoom, and I was doing it like a year and a half ago for another team. So I'm glad we're doing it for our own team. Let's help out our own guys. And our guy Jared, Jared Payne, he's silky smooth. I love him. He's smooth, man. I like to hear him. I like to hear him dial. And what Derek was saying is so true. He took some minor critiques and he changed his whole pitch, and everything was selling for him. So it's really cool. Everyone can benefit. I benefit from it too. It keeps me accountable.
That dude is super humble when he takes advice. I feel like that's a key thing, like to be successful at like being able to evolve and take that criticism and turn and basically change it, evolve it into the next level so you can be better. I feel like that's a trait that he has that I like a lot.
Right.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, he's very humble. He's easily coachable. I mean, he took a few little changes, and now he's by far one of the best sellers we have on the team now. So it's really cool that he does that, and I'm glad that he's working with us. So it's really cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny too, because yesterday as I was driving out to go shooting, I hopped on the dials real quick, because then I was like, wonder who's on here, and then I'm able to talk to Casey and Trent, and then I'm like, Trent's on the other side of the country. When we hop on, it's like we're having a little bit of a conversation. It's like we're in the same room together, putting work, just doing whatever we need to do, and then it's just kind of a different experience. So I think like JP's right. I mean, having something like this actually holds you accountable, because it's really easy for us to pretend like we're working, to act like we're busier than we actually are, saying like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not growing. My business isn't growing to where I want it to be. Because you could tell yourself whatever narrative you want to. You can tell yourself whatever story, but if you're on those live dials, and I'm not saying this is the end all be all, because if there's other ones out there, or you enjoy dialing along, that's one thing, but to have a group where you actually keep you accountable, because the thing is you can tell everyone you're working, but you haven't done any dials, you haven't took any calls, you haven't helped any clients. Like, what do you expect to really change? So you just got to put yourself out there a little bit. You got to stretch yourself a little bit, and then that's just how you're going to grow. I think JP's on his call. So cool. All right. Well, appreciate you guys coming on and sharing a little bit.
Thank you, Al. Thanks for setting that up as well. Thank you.
Did you have fun yesterday?
Yeah, that was fun. I'm actually getting a live transfer right now as we speak. So sorry about that.
Go handle it. If you guys want to catch them later, go ahead.
Thanks, guys.
JohnnyLeeDials.com. All right. But yeah, it's actually kind of was making me think, because I was reading this book, The Power of Strangers, by Joe Kohani. So it's this guy talking about the importance of talking to strangers, because generally most people don't like to talk to strangers, right? Or at least we're conditioned that for the most part, we're always kind of, given the whole like stranger danger thing, or you don't know how people are going to react to certain things. So we're naturally a little bit we don't want to make ourselves vulnerable for the most part,
Mhm.
but, it's actually, if you look at it from an anthropological standpoint, like, the more you talk to strangers, the safer you actually become, because now you're actually, because everyone seems like smaller than they are if you don't really know them, if you just observe them from a distance, because they lack the humanity that we recognize in the people that we do talk to.
Yeah.
Right. So this is kind of a similar principle when I was looking at what we do for work here, what we do as a career with Family First Life in this type of industry. Like, if we're going to help people out, we're going to grow our business, we need to be comfortable talking to strangers. Because the thing is, there's other insurance business models where all you do is your friends and family, but what's the extent that you can build your business that way?
Mhm.
How far you can only take it so far, right?
Mhm.
You can only write your auntie like 17 times, and then and then that's it. Like, what are you gonna do after that? So I looked at it in an interesting way, because when I was reading, I was looking at like our live dials in a weird way. You're going to be dealing with strangers.
Mhm.
You don't know everybody. You know some people. So the thing is, there's that little bit of familiarity, but for the most part, there's going to be new people popping on. There's people that you've never actually talked to, names you've seen, and maybe some names you haven't.
Yeah.
But then, when you're talking in front of other people, like, it's different, right? Like, you guys do a podcast.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, it's something you're getting more comfortable with, right?
Yeah, definitely get more comfortable with it. Just being on here, I actually feel a lot more comfortable than I've ever have in a very long time. I remember when I used to hop on a podcast, you could say in the beginning stage when I first got to FFL, and it was pretty nerve wracking. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like pretty nervous. Like, I was jumping over my words, and maybe a lot of the stuff that I was saying probably didn't even make sense. I don't know, but definitely the I can definitely feel the difference and the change from that back then. But it's really like building a muscle, to be honest. Like, you've mentioned this to me many times, but like actually experiencing it and going through it, then you start to understand. It's like, well, yeah, it's really building muscle. You got to keep on putting yourself in that situation to get better at it, or even to feel more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel great now, especially being on his podcast too. We do a lot of different things, and it's not as nerve wracking as it was before.
So what do you think was the main component that was keeping you from feeling comfortable when you're in?
It was mainly overthinking everything, man, and feeling like I might not have, you can say, enough knowledge or enough to make these people feel like they're getting something. You know what I'm saying? So in the beginning, but it was mainly just all of that stems back to just overthinking things, and rather than just like, being here in that moment, just sharing, because I am a part of this business. I am trying to build a business. And if I do end up, it might not be for this person, but it can be for another person. So the way I see it now is, over time, just like growing and, talking to you guys, it's like, just share, because, what I'm saying, John and Sally might not, be interested in it, but Bob and Samantha might, what I'm saying? So they might, that might open their eyes. That might be something new for them. So nowadays I just share, and I'm saying, I just keep on trying to think outside the box and do different things to not just, you could say benefit myself, but benefit the people that surround me within the business. Yeah.
You've always been very comfortable since. I mean, I heard Yoel on. He was my social media guy. So like, if you were not very open to that, then we'd be screwed. But
well, I think like I've always been like the class clown type, like comfortable, like, blurting out in class, like that type of person. But as far as like being on a mic or like speaking seriously, like that was extremely uncomfortable. Like public speeches, that was extremely uncomfortable. Like I did not enjoy stuff like that. Like blurting out in class, like stuff like that was not really an issue, because, you come in, you dip. That's kind of like the class clown, thing to do, right? But like, dude, I wish I had the first episode of my podcast. Like, I was not comfortable. I was very nervous. I said like, I mean, I still say like a lot, but I was like this, like. It's like, bro, are you okay? Are you like a blonde from like the valley or something? Like, I still say it, but the thing is, it doesn't, like, I don't obsess over my mistakes. I think that's the biggest thing about public speaking and, podcasts is like, don't obsess over the mistakes, improve on them, but don't let that hinder your confidence. I think that is the biggest key. And, practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the easier it is to formulate thoughts, the easier it is to formulate thoughts faster. And the faster it's going to be,
right.
So, and I think it comes with time. It's like sales too. I think sales is even, you probably have to think on your toes probably more than, maybe a podcast, because people will throw out a rebuttal and you'll have to think about the question, how you're going to respond with the context of the conversation, with the context of what you want ultimately, so, both take skill, but they are two different skills, so just making sure that, you respect the craft and that you don't expect to be good overnight. You're going to be good if you just, do it one after the other. What's funny is last season for my podcast, I would have podcasts scheduled over Zoom because, COVID and everything. And I knew nothing about the guest until the podcast. So like you're talking about talking to strangers, like, dude, I didn't know who these people were. Like I had like a quick bio of who they were. And then it was like lights, camera, action. And, I was talking to them, and I posted it for people to watch. And, was I nervous before everyone? Yeah. But I knew that it was a good skill to be nervous, do it anyway, and be like, okay, that was kind of cool, or that was kind of fun, or that was kind of boring. Being comfortable speaking to people you don't know, or being comfortable experiencing things that are uncomfortable, but doing them anyway is super valuable. So.
Yeah, and obviously this is a little bit of a different concept because we know most of the people that are on here, the people that watch us. But sometimes like I have random people come up because like you create little clips and you guys Sam posts it out there, and then I see it, I'm like, oh, there I am. But like it can get in your head because sometimes you think like some stranger is going to watch this and that would be their first and only impression of me. But if you break it down, you look at it, you're like, well, that may be the case. And, but if that person is someone that I can't have ongoing continuous dialogue with, or they're not open to that, does it really matter? Whatever their initial thought was. So, we all got to condition ourselves to just be a little bit more comfortable and start. It's a skill, it's a developed skill that we can all grow over time. And it's just, it strictly comes from experience for us to do it. Cause I was actually like, when I was reading, I was looking, when you're, especially like in social media, the thing is, whatever you're looking at, we create these like ideological silos, right? And it's all reinforced by, the things that we're familiar with. And it keeps the algorithms designed to just keep sending you things you're familiar with and keep sending like-minded people your way, which is good in some respects because, the thing is, you'll further develop that thought if you genuinely believe it. Mm-hmm. Or if you hear the same things over and over again, eventually you're like, actually, no, I don't believe that. Mm. And then it could potentially, cause some type of change within you. But for the most part, like you're actually kind of lacking on social media. You're lacking the ability to be able to talk to genuine strangers because those other people, you're already kind of like-minded as it is. And then you lack that diversity in your thought. You lack the diversity in your ability to be able to gain different perspectives because you're just hearing from the same people. You're hearing from other people what you already think.
Yeah.
Right. And it creates like this whole like validation of whatever you believe to be true. And it creates this whole bias. And then it just, I don't know, the more exposure you have to strangers, the quicker you'll understand how to navigate through the world.
Yeah.
Because not everyone's going to be like-minded like you. So, just embrace it.
Yeah. Like Grant Cardone, he did some interview or something where he like trains his daughters. I think he has 2 daughters. He's like, I have them talk to every stranger as much as they can because he's like, I'm not going to raise my kids thinking that like strangers are bad because at the end of the day, we're all strangers. Right. Like everyone, newsflash, everyone here was a stranger at one point. Everyone you love, all my best friends were strangers at one point. Mm-hmm. But guess what? One of us had to bridge the gap, but we've bridged the gap for many people that we weren't friends with or weren't business partners or weren't best friends. But that's life. So you just never know. You really never know. Some people I've met and I've been like, this person's cool, but like, it is what it is. And then you like hang out with them more. You're like, wow, this person's this person's cool. Like I actually get along with them, Mm-hmm. Like Sam, I didn't like at all at first. Like I was like, who's this like really annoying guy? But no.
And one of these days you'll like end up like
yeah, probably not. No, yeah. So it's just, you just never know. I think having the humility, having the optimism, having the just the positive attitude that, hey, maybe this person has more to offer than meets the eye, I think it like goes a long way. Especially, it's tough to see that in like really fast economies. Like Los Angeles is kind of filled with a lot of people that, it's like, what can you do for me? Nothing. Okay, cool. Next. It is what it is. We don't have very transactional. It lacks kind of the community effect that, other parts of the country, have, or other parts of the world. And, to be at least, you can only control yourself. Right. So for me, I try to be that person. I try to, say what's up. I try to, be social. I get caught in the rat race too, but we can only control ourselves. And if we just make that decision to bridge that gap, or, make new friends, or be social, or not be scared to be the one that takes that initiative, I think we can make a lot of moves.
Right. And we've traveled a little bit for this business. We got a chance to travel around to go for meetings, go for trainings, open up different offices, that kind of stuff. And obviously we know the people within our team, but a lot of times we know some of the people, and then we end up meeting the rest on those little journeys. Mm-hmm. But in addition, from our flight attendants, or whoever, the people at the airport, our Uber driver, like we end up talking to everybody, mm-hmm. right? And I think there's definitely diversity in the places that we go, because we don't look like everybody, we don't talk or think like everybody. And I think we've only had maybe one or two bad experiences, but for the most part, everyone's been great. And yeah. I think about all the opportunities that we would have lost out on had we not just ventured out, just started a conversation. Like what really is there to lose? Mm-hmm. Nothing. If we stuck our neck out and just try to start a conversation, if we get rejected, I don't know. Like,
it is what it is.
And when have we ever really been rejected for anything?
I can't even think, because I don't think about it. Yeah. Like, I think that's the key. Like, just, you can't even think about it. It's like you can't really harp on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think about like, oh, this happened. Like, I just think about the wins. I try to think about the positive stuff that happens. If you start to like count, oh, I've been rejected this many times. Like, just try to focus on the positive. Obviously, in regards to this business, know your numbers and sales. You know what I mean? But I'm saying more about, like meeting new people. Like, oh, like you can't at the end of the day be like, man, this person rejected me, or this girl rejected me. Like, what does that say about me? It's like, you'll never know. So the point of like focusing on something you have no control over, no context, like you don't know that person's mind, there's no point.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, if you sit and dwell on it, because we were talking to Jason earlier, he gets rejected a lot, but that's why he's a top producer, because he goes through all those and there's no loss of enthusiasm, continues to power through, and he finds a way. Mm-hmm. Right. But the thing is, if we choose to dwell on these negative things, or tend to dwell on these rejections, what's the upside of it? Like what are you going to gain from sitting around thinking about it?
So, nothing.
Yeah. So, with all that being said, in order for us to further enrich our lives and enrich our business, to be able to find more strangers to be able to, bring into the business, or to share business with. I mean, that's also why, leads are such an important thing.
Yep.
Because, the thing is, if you wanted to meet a bunch of strangers, I mean, we can go and do that. We can go on the street, introduce ourselves to people, and I don't know. For the most part, it'd be different. And some people might look at you as being weird, but if you have a genuine interaction with a person, you don't approach them in a creepy way. If you have a conversation with them, then, for the most part, like I can hardly remember a time that I introduced myself and someone was just like, didn't want to talk to me. And they just,
yeah.
So, I mean, it's all in how we do it, but look at what we have in our business. We have leads. The thing is, you don't have to go and stop people, random people on there. These are people that filled in a response, sent it back somehow, either through mail or through the internet or whatever it is. And the thing is, they're strangers initially when we first talk to them, and it's all in how we interact with these people. And we all recognize, and you see on the live dials, you probably suck at the beginning, just because there's too many variables, too many things you're trying to figure out. But as you continue to dial, as you continue to have more and more of these experiences, then you have a better idea of what to expect. You have a better idea of how to respond in certain type of responses.
Great.
Right? So then at this point, you can kind of build up your experience base, talking to strangers, from just leads and all these situations where we're actually able to help them out. You're protecting that family.
Yeah. And one thing I will say, like, the thing about life insurance is, like, no one wants to have that conversation. Like, it's a very difficult and not fun conversation for people to have. That's why life insurance salespeople are very important. And that's why they're very needed. And that's why they get compensated well if they do their job right. Because you're able to have a conversation with someone that needs to have it, but that doesn't want to have it.
Right.
So I think we need to keep that in mind when we're doing this thing, is like, not to talk crap about other sales, but like people are like, nice, I can afford to buy a house. Now, who do I go to buy that house? It's beautiful. If starting a family, I can buy a house. It's beautiful.
Yeah, different emotions attached to it.
It's just a different dynamic. Life insurance is like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like, if Mr. Smith dies, like, what's going to happen? Those are the tough conversations that we're having to have with people. So I think we need to keep that, have that context in mind when we're going through this stuff, and be like, dude, like, this shouldn't be easy, because it's not easy. On our end, it's not our family, right? So we kind of get numb to that. But for them, man, they might not be dodging you because they can't afford it. They don't have time, X, Y, and Z. They just don't want to have that. They just might not want to have that conversation right now. They might not want to have it next week. But guess what? If you do your job right, if you, establish credibility, if you do all those things, they're willing to trust you and have that conversation with you.
Well, I mean, I'd argue that in this situation, generally you want, the more familiar you are with people, the more they'll open up with you. But in situations like life insurance, in the industry that we work in, arguably it's probably better to be a stranger, because you got to ask them some questions about their history, their medical history.
Way
their
better.
past.
Yeah.
They don't want to be telling their family member
No,
or someone
no.
close to them about,
how much do you make?
yeah, I take this type of medication for this and that.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you got to look at these situations, and you have to just try to understand your business, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And in our business, like, we got to deal with strangers. The thing is, if you're afraid to talk to strangers, it's either what are you going, like, what are the options you got?
Yeah.
Wrap it up and call it a career and go do something else, or we can hone our skills.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you purchase your leads, the thing is, you have a built-in audience for you to be able to go and talk to strangers. And I guarantee you, the more that you talk to strangers, the more that you have these opportunities to build up these relationships. All of these experiences will further allow you to be able to think quicker.
I agree.
Because look at you on the mic now versus when you were, whatever you thought you were doing when you first started doing this.
Agreed.
Like, you were just sitting there thinking that at times, to be honest, like, I told you this, you were just sitting there and I was like, Clifton's trying to say something, but he's just like, he's not ready to fire.
Yeah.
That's so facts. Albert's, I could see Cliff bubbling, like,
for real. That's so facts though, man. Because I just, like, I was overthinking stuff on a crazy level because I just didn't want to mess up. But that's funny. That's funny that you noticed that.
And I noticed it too, also because I've been through that, and there's times when I'm like, and I was like, no, it's going to sound stupid. I better not say it. Whereas, like, now, I don't know if I'm any better, but now I'm just like, it might be stupid, but I'm saying it anyway.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like, I'm not going to die from it. It's okay.
Agreed.
it is what it is.
So, I mean, there's a couple of key skills. They're in this book. Joe talked about, he just went out, they did all these studies, and they actually go and talk to people in different parts of the world, and just to see what this phenomenon it really is, if it's just like isolated because these people are friendly, or this country's not friendly, or whatever it is. And then he just said it's pretty much the same everywhere. People tend to be a little bit more outgoing and social. They tend to talk a little bit more strangers if there's less stronger central institutions. So like countries that have really strong central institutions, like Finland and the UK, the thing is, people tend to keep to themselves a little bit more.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And not necessarily because they're bad people or they're not friendly people. It's just that there's a little bit more order and stability within what they understand to be where they're living.
Got it.
Whereas like places that have less strong central institutions, like third world countries, people tend to interact a little bit more. They talk to more strangers because they need to depend on one another to figure out how to get through life, right?
Yeah,
they can't depend on these institutions around them to provide this for them. So
makes sense.
Everything that we do, if the more that we can understand this concept, the quicker we will be able to embrace the idea of like, okay, let's just go out and talk to as many people as we can. Because I mean, every time like people ask, how do I make more sales? It's like, you gotta get more leads. You gotta talk to more strangers. When people say like, how do I build an agency? And they're like, what should I do? How do I market? How do I, I'm like, I don't know what your specific strategy is, because that's something that you need to decide for yourself. But I always say your bottom line is you got to talk to as many people as you can and share this opportunity.
I agree.
If that's what you're looking to do as far as building a team.
I agree.
And it's kind of sucks doing things like on your own. Like, I mean, and to bring Sam into this, if you want to hop into the mic, you don't have to talk. I just wanted to scare you.
Yeah, you do.
No, like, I mean, Sam was a stranger before you met him and decided to hire him. You know, obviously I knew him, but he's added so much value to the agency, right? You know, we've been able to collaborate on things and it's just made it more fun for everybody, right? So like, it's like adding other people. He was a stranger to you at one point, but you know, he's added value and it's made things a lot more fun, right? So it's just like little things like that, dude. Like, how many of those certain occurrences happen in a business? You don't know somebody, you may hire them, partner with them, whatever it may be. And look, you guys are homies or you guys are business partners helping each other grow your business, make more money. You know, but we forget about that and we act like, oh, this new stranger, this guy's a stranger. It's like, dude, I was a stranger.
Right.
You were like, we're all strangers. But for some reason, we think those are strangers, the people we don't know. But at one time, you didn't know the people you knew. You know, I don't want to like keep saying this, but like, you know what I mean?
Because the thing is, yeah, you're right. I mean, I didn't know how to act around Sam originally because he's Oregonian.
That's my defining trait.
No, but I'm like, you know, it's
What is he? Say it. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my.
Everyone's a stranger initially. Like think about the most positive people in your guys' respective lives. Like who are you closest to? The people that you respect the most, people that you enjoy spending your time with. They were all strangers at one point. You know, even your parents, you didn't know them coming out the womb.
Facts.
Like you had to like get familiar with these people and kind of
Facts.
learn to trust. And the quicker that you can do that, deeper you can do that, then the higher the upside for whatever you may be doing. And as entrepreneurs, like business owners that we have, it's vitally important. The less people you talk to in this business, the smaller of a business that you're going to have, the less money that you're going to make. Like there's just no other way around this, especially in what we do. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, one of the things that they talked about was if you want to approach more strangers, aside from the obvious part of needing more experience, the couple of tips that they gave was you got to be emotionally literate. Okay, so which means you got to try to get a feel for what that person is feeling. So how you approach the person is important. You know, so things you got to make a connection first. You know, you can't just go up there and just start bombarding them with stuff because most people are just not accustomed to that. Mm. But if you just ask someone like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" and then just find a way to connect that way. Also, you got to be big on picking up body language, and then if you're doing telephone and virtual sales, you got to be able to pick up on tonality. Just little audio and visual cues. That'll kind of help you redirect and be responsive to that person. If you can do all that kind of stuff, you form the connection pretty quickly, and you will be able to do this quicker and quicker with more and more experience. And then obviously, most important thing, and this goes for everything in life, just gotta be respectful, right? So if you can do all these things, then you'll have a much better ability to be able to deal with strangers, talk to strangers, and this is not just in our business. Our business obviously is going to be important to talk to as many strangers as possible. But if you really want to get the full depth out of life, for you to be able to navigate quicker, you never know the networks that you can gain throughout the process. What they do, what they know, who they know, all these different things. Like just put yourself out there and be willing to make yourself a little bit more vulnerable. The more and more that you do this too, the stronger you become, the more prepared you are for all these situations. So you're gonna be more than prepared to be able to handle anything that comes your way if you continue to focus on those things. So that's
I agree, and I absolutely else to say about Mexico, man. Bro, I wanted to talk to so many of those strangers because of how they spoke to strangers. Like some of the people that were like, they made little knickknacks that are trying to sell stuff. I was like, bro, you guys would kill it in the, bro, join my agency. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, dude, some rebuttals I learned from them. It was kind of funny. Like a lot of them had like similar rebuttals, no matter what part of like, area you were from. Like if they were like trying to sell like a wristband or something, I'd be like, I'm good. Not right now. And then be like, okay, cool. Maybe tomorrow. that was like one of the rebuttals that just made me laugh every time whenever they say that. Oh, okay, maybe later. But like as soon as you get off the airport, like people trying to sell you, it's like, oh, you need a taxi? Okay. I was like, I'm actually calling an Uber. They're like, oh, okay, how much is it? Well, let me know and I'll match the price. I'll be like, I already called it. Be like, oh, cancel it. I'll pay the difference. I'm like, dang, this guy, bro, I can't even get off the airport, bro. This guy's killing it, bro. You be a star out here, man. Join my agency, bro. I'll help you out. Let's go.
Yeah.
And it was just like crazy. I was like, it's crazy how comfortable we are in America, not talking to random people or not, comfortable selling or uncomfortable with rejection, because they would just get rejected over and over. Like, say we were on the beach and they'd go to all the resorts, just walk up and down and be like, hey, I'm selling this, or hey, do you want this? And people would be like, nah. Like some people would say yes, though. Like I was one of those people. Like there was probably like 20 people that went by with selling different things. But then I saw I was kind of shopping for something. There were certain things that I didn't really like. And then I saw a nice blanket. Like, yeah, he made like these handmade like Mexican blankets. I was like, hey man, come here. Let me see those. And I went over to him. And then honestly, like I started talking to him and I was like, how much are these? They're like, oh, 50 or $60 or something like that. I was like, oh man, it's tough. That's more than I thought. I don't even have that on me. And I think the ATM's broken. They're like, oh, well, how much you want me to sell it to you for? I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out for maybe like 50. And then he's like, okay, we can do 50. I was like, but I don't even have it on me. Like, I think the ATM was broken, because I actually genuinely thought the ATM was broken. He's like, are you sure? Like, look at these. These are a little bit cheaper. Like he show me all the inventory. You know what I'm saying? And then he was just willing to work and kind of like get through and see what he could do. You know what I'm saying? I was like, actually, I like this one. Actually, let me go see if I'll leave my shoes here. Like, let me go see if the ATM was working. When ATM was working, got my money, broke them off, and I got my blanket. But I was like, dang, like I'm just learning from him. Like, it was just like so interesting because he had such a good attitude, even though he was been walking in the sun for probably the whole day, probably every day for, God knows how long, but he just still had a really good attitude. And I was like, that's so cool. And I gave him extra, obviously, but it was so cool to see. It was just very humbling and made me very grateful and made me very, looked at myself and be like, okay, like, how can I apply that mentality and more into what I'm doing? Just being like, hey, no matter what, like, I'm a hustle, but also like there's levels to this hustle. And, a lot of us, we're soft because we're in America, we're blessed. And, we shouldn't be guilty that we're blessed, but we're blessed. Let's not get it twisted. There's people hustling on this planet.
Yeah.
Hustling.
That dude was hustling.
Hunting.
But that's the thing. Like he it's probably because he had enough experience at that point, but also there was no fear of rejection. Because the thing is, they didn't have some of these people don't have the luxury of being afraid. They're just trying to survive. They're just trying to take care of their family. Like
huge survival trumps.
So for a lot of us, like we get put in these positions where, yeah, we're not always where we want to be. Like we might be behind on some bills. We might be, whatever our financial situation may be, as dire as it may seem. The thing is, like, we're not dying of starvation, right? So the thing is, we don't have that same level of urgency. And then the story we tell ourselves is we just it starts compounding and building in our head, thinking it's a much bigger deal than it actually is. So, we can get handicapped in those situations. So I'm glad you brought that up, because when you go to these other countries, like you see how blessed we are in the US. So whatever our situation is, it genuinely isn't that bad if you look at it comparatively with anybody else.
On it.
So I mean, speaking of it, I want to share the story real quick too. I remember I was in the Dominican Republic, and then this one guy came by, and like he was like aggressive. I just really watched him like trying to hustle all these people that were walking by, and he comes up like, "Hey, bro, man, what's your name, bro?" And I was like, Albert. He's like, "Oh, that's my brother's name." And I just remember I was thinking in my head, I'm like, "What? I should have said some super Asian name." And I was be like, "That's my brother's name." But yeah, I mean, like I got nothing but respect for those people. And the thing is, yeah, we all learn a little something from that, just to, just remove that fear from you. Like what's the worst that can happen? Oh. Obviously you got to use some common sense, but especially in the business that we're in, with the virtual and telesales, I mean, just go out and talk to strangers, man. Just get your leads, talk to as many people as you can. If you're looking to build an agency, talk to as many people as you can. All these things will, even if it doesn't get you immediate results, at least is bringing you closer and closer to where you want to be.
Mm.
Okay, whether it's money wise or whether it's experience wise, somehow it's going to add something to your life. It's going to continue to add value if you can take these lessons. So, anything else you want to share?
No. Good to go.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. Appreciate Cliff and Yoel coming on and sharing. Appreciate
Definitely.
Casey, JP, and Derek for sharing for a little bit, and Jason. So let's go out there. Let's go talk to some strangers. Let's go help as many people as we can. Let's do what we can as a group to keep pushing everything forward. So let's go out there and be elite, guys.